When I saw my stepsister Lucy Adams bring home the down-and-out young man Ryan Foster first, I knew she had also been reborn. In our previous life, she took my place marrying into the wealthy Carter family while I ended up with Ryan. After their wedding, Lucy suffered domestic violence, miscarried, and got framed by her husband's mistress until she lost everything. Meanwhile, I built an empire from scratch with Ryan, who cherished me beyond measure. Consumed by resentment, Lucy eventually drove her car into my pregnant belly. Now it seemed we'd both been given a second chance. This time, Lucy couldn't wait to steal my destiny. She assumed my good fortune stemmed from Ryan. Truthfully, she wasn't wrong. Ryan was indeed that rare combination of business genius and devoted husband. While I'd always been content being the carefree one. As I stood paralyzed with indecision, Ryan walked straight toward me with puppy dog eyes. "Sweetheart," he mumbled. "Why didn't you come find me this time?" "Mom. Dad." Lucy tugged at our parents' sleeves with practiced fragility. "He's all alone here after getting robbed. Can't we help him?" Our parents frowned at the silhouette beyond the doorway, shoulders hunched in visible discomfort. They started reprimanding Lucy for suggesting we shelter a stranger. But Lucy stood her ground. "He just needs temporary help. We're talking pocket change for our family. Besides, look at him, that's no ordinary man." I stumbled downstairs half asleep, freezing when I recognized the man at the threshold. "Ryan." My gaze snapped to Lucy's triumphantly pale face. So she remembered everything too. Lucy had always outshone me in parental approval contests. Last lifetime, when I'd brought home a penniless Ryan out of kindness, Lucy spun elaborate lies about our relationship. Her smear campaign destroyed my engagement to Ethan Carter. Heartbroken, I ran away only to find Ryan following me through every park bench and sunrise watch. We fell in love. But when I finally mustered courage to introduce him to Father, our mansion was decked in wedding finery. During my absence, Lucy had charmed Ethan into marrying her instead. Father disowned me with a final bank card after Lucy and her mother's persuasion. Ryan took me to his hometown, using that seed money to start his business. Within 5 years, his company dominated financial headlines. 11 years later, he'd become the undisputed king of Westridge City's corporate world. The whole industry knew CEO Foster as the ultimate doting husband who proudly mentioned my wife in every interview. When Father came crawling back to reconnect after Ryan's rise to fame, I agreed to visit for New Year's despite knowing his ulterior motives. That decision cost me everything. Lily Anderson's life wasn't as glamorous as I'd imagined. After marrying Ethan Carter, she didn't become the pampered socialite she'd hoped to be. Instead, her marriage turned into a nightmare. Ethan had a revolving door of girlfriends before marriage and never changed his ways afterward. His explosive temper made every argument escalate, screaming matches turned physical multiple times. During one particularly violent episode, Lily ended up hospitalized. She started bleeding heavily below the waist. At the hospital, they discovered she was 3 months pregnant. The miscarriage only made Ethan colder. He froze her bank accounts, trapping her in their McMansion while parading his mistresses through their home. The final straw came when Lily found divorce papers demanding she leave with nothing. Her suffering dwarfed my own struggles. After decades of rivalry, I thought I'd finally won. But seeing her father suddenly showering attention on Ryan while ignoring her pleas broke Lily completely. Watching Ryan dote on me during that family dinner pushed her over the edge. She became convinced every smile I wore was meant to taunt her. That twilight meeting was a trap. Her car came speeding toward me. I was pregnant too. Maybe divine intervention took pity, granting me a second chance. When I opened my eyes, I found myself 12 years younger, back when neither of us had married yet. But my relief shattered seeing Lily standing downstairs. She'd beaten me to it. There she was, approaching the struggling young Ryan at our doorstep. Her plan became crystal clear: steal my future by claiming Ryan first. Oh, how wrong she was. Lily thinks Ryan's the golden ticket, that marrying him guarantees happiness. Well, she's not entirely mistaken. God knows Ryan spoiled me rotten during our marriage. The man worked Wall Street hours yet still came home to cook wearing that ridiculous pink apron. He weathered my tantrums like storms. Always protecting. Always providing. He truly was one in a million. How will I survive without him this time? Downstairs. Lily's already weaving her web. Don't worry. She simpers to Ryan. I'll take care of everything. You can stay here tonight. Just avoid my sister, she's lazy. Ill-tempered. And, well, let's say she's not easy on the eyes. Before she could finish painting me as some ogre, I charged downstairs in my sleep shirt. Visitors. I chirped, breezing past our speechless father. Ryan's storm-gray eyes widened as I grabbed his hand. Lily Anderson. I beamed, shaking firmly. Don't worry, Ryan. I'll make sure you get through this. Lily whirled around, shock cracking her carefully crafted mask. How do you know his name? She hissed. Indeed. She'd never mentioned it. I simply smiled, feeling Ryan's pulse quicken under my fingers. Game on. Lily's gaze toward me gradually turned venomous. In the tense atmosphere, Dad intervened to break the silence. He slapped my hand sharply. This is outrageous. He glared at Ryan with hostility. Since both my daughters seem so sympathetic toward you, you may stay for now. His voice lowered. But remember your place. Ryan bowed his head humbly. Thank you, sir. After dinner, Lucy cornered me on the balcony. Lily. She sneered upon seeing me. I never imagined you'd also be reborn. I met her gaze coldly. Likewise. You ruined my life last time. And now you're trying to steal my future again? Her eyes burned with hatred. Don't get cocky. This time, I'll be the one marrying Ryan. I remained calm. Is clinging to men really your only strategy? Lucy? Back in my room. I sank into the sofa despite my earlier victory in rattling Lucy. What if Ryan actually fell for her? What if they married? This wasn't about his future wealth, I'm genuinely into him as a person. My fingers tangled in my hair as panic set in. Lucy had already brought Ryan home first. If they developed feelings now, I'd never forgive myself. A knock interrupted my spiraling thoughts. Midnight? Seriously? What now? Lucy? I yanked the door open. Then froze. Ryan stood silhouetted in the doorway, his bangs shadowing his eyes. He stared intensely without speaking. Can I help you? I finally asked. I just arrived today, he stated oddly. When I simply blinked, he continued. I only told Lucy my name initially. His gaze sharpened. Yet you knew it without any interaction. How? My throat tightened. In trying to outmaneuver Lucy, I'd trapped myself. Should I confess about being reborn? He'd think I'm insane. Before I could respond, Ryan stepped forward, forcing me backward into the room. The door clicked shut behind him. His arm snaked around my waist, pulling me flush against his chest. I stiffened, hyper-aware of his body heat radiating through our clothes. Ryan rested his head on my shoulder, his movements mirroring our previous life. Babe, I knew you came back too. His voice cracked slightly. This time, why didn't you come find me first? I mumbled awkwardly. Sorry. I overslept. After the initial shock of rebirth, the confusion, excitement, resentment, and grief, I'd decided to coast through these days until our destined meeting. Yet Lucy had found him first. The familiar dampness seeped through my shirt as Ryan started crying. Seeing you again, his shoulders shook with quiet sobs. This was the Ryan who'd lived through decades with me. Who'd somehow found his way back through time itself. My fingers instinctively curled around his waist. What had happened after my death last timeline? How many years had he wandered alone? The questions burned my tongue. But midnight found us tangled in bedsheets like the old married couple we were, no newlyweds shyness. Only desperate, grateful clutching. His trembling arms locked around me like I might dissolve into smoke. Dawn shattered with my father's roar. Before I could blink, his calloused palm came swinging. Disgrace. He bellowed as I scrambled behind Ryan's protective frame. The scene spoke for itself, rumpled sheets. Clothes in disarray. Me cowering behind a stranger he'd never met. Ryan dropped to his knees. Sir. I take full responsibility. Lily and I. Lily? Dad's mustache quivered with fresh outrage. The subsequent chaos left us both nursing bruises on the porch steps. That's when Lucy emerged. Her manic laughter slicing through the morning chill. So that's it. She spat. Dirt clods spraying my jeans as she lunged. You both remember. This whole time. I was just your fucking pawn. Her bloodshot eyes darted between us. Why does everything always revolve around you? Lily? Why can't I ever? Ryan moved to intercept. But I caught his wrist. The crumbling earth in Lucy's palm wasn't what frightened me, it was the shattered look of someone who'd finally understood they were never meant to win. Lily Anderson. I stood up and kicked Lucy Adams without warning. Sending her sprawling. Pinning her down. I grabbed her throat and roared. You feel wronged? What right do you have? You killed me when my family was whole. You should be groveling in gratitude I didn't slit your throat immediately. How dare you play victim? Lucy? Have you no shame? She went feral. Flipping us over. I grew up hidden away like trash while you had everything. Even after moving into the Anderson house. People kept comparing us, how I'd never match your manners or grades. Not even marriage fixed it. Why shouldn't I feel cheated? I barked out laughter. And whose fault is that? Everyone knew Lucy was father's illegitimate daughter. Her mother the kept woman who'd moved into Anderson Manor the week after Mom's funeral. Yours. This is all your fault. Lucy shrieked. Ryan Foster moved to intervene but froze when I shot him a look. We became wild animals clawing and biting. Years of resentment exploding through manicured nails. I didn't hold back, soon crimson streaks marred her porcelain cheeks. Father arrived late with his mistress in tow. Separating us. His face darkened seeing his perfect daughters disheveled. When neither spoke. He spent all night speculating before deciding Ryan was the problem. Pack your things. He told Ryan at dawn. Tossing threadbare luggage outdoors. Our humble home can't accommodate your grandeur. I immediately grabbed my suitcase to follow. Reliving this exact scenario from my past life felt oddly nostalgic. But before we reached the train station, Father's men dragged us back. Lucy's doing. No doubt. I clung to Ryan like ivy until the bodyguards hauled us both home. You'll give me heart failure. Father clutched his chest. Glaring at Ryan. What witchcraft has this pauper worked on you? Fluttering lashes. I stood on tiptoes to smack a loud kiss on Ryan's cheek. Since when does love need reasons? Father nearly fainted. Collecting himself. He tried reason, what about the Carters? Your engagement to Ethan Carter is in 3 weeks. I froze. The Carter alliance was Mom's dying wish. Last life. I'd abandoned it, only for Lucy to steal Ethan. Now. Lucy jumped like scalded when I glanced her way. Don't even think about dumping your leftovers on me. Father gaped. Ethan Carter, the golden boy every society mother coveted, reduced to table scraps in our spat? You scheming witch. Lucy yelled. Trying to saddle me with your husband. He's yours. Your problem. Enough. Father's bellow shook chandeliers. The next morning brought shockwaves. Carter stewards arrived solemn-faced. They whisked Father away, returning him pale by dusk. Stepmother fluttered anxiously as Lucy and I eavesdropped in the courtyard. The Carters, Father moistened lips. Request to break your engagement. Lily. I snorted. Seriously? His gaze shifted to Lucy cracking sunflower seeds. Ethan wants to marry you instead. Pale as parchment. Lucy's seeds scattered. What? Rumors spread that you. Father stared at me. Already pledged yourself to another man. The moment he spoke, the room fell silent. The servants exchanged panicked glances. While determining who leaked the information would require investigation later. That wasn't the immediate concern. The real question was, why had Ethan Carter suddenly taken an interest in Lucy Adams? She hadn't even interacted with him in this lifetime. Dad continued explaining. Young Master Carter happened to see Lucy helping homeless people under the overpass during a business dinner last week. He found her kindness charming. Much more appealing than Lily's demeanor. Lucy choked out. What the hell? Despite her vehement protests, our parents remained determined to proceed with the Carter family marriage alliance. The Carters' old money influence dwarfed our new money Addams family's status. Of course they'd seize this golden opportunity. It seemed fate was repeating its cruel patterns. At the mention of Ethan's name, Lucy began trembling violently. Her trauma from past life memories surfacing. Ryan squeezed my hand. Should we still leave? Honey? Wait. I murmured, studying Lucy's stormy expression. I've got a feeling she's planning something explosive. As always, Ryan deferred to my judgment. Your call. My instincts proved correct. Lucy later hired thugs disguised as Carter security to kidnap Ethan from an upscale club. When news broke, I nearly applauded her audacity. What twisted logic led her to this deranged solution? We arrived at the scene to find Ethan beaten unconscious, blindfolded and hogtied in a storage room. Have you lost your mind? Dad screamed, paling at the sight of the battered Carter heir. You want to die? Don't drag our family down with you. Lucy's motives became clear. She'd rather die than relive her nightmare marriage. But not before settling past grievances. My sister intended to take Ethan down with her. Dad's men subdued Lucy during her ranting meltdown. We stood awkwardly around Ethan's prone form until Ryan broke the silence. Any Carter family rivals we could frame? Brilliant. Dad's eyes lit up. After fake tears and dramatic rescuing theatrics, he delivered Ethan back to the Carters as some heroic savior. When Dad returned, we were already packing. He prattled about the Carters' gratitude until noticing our luggage. What's all this? Preparing our exit strategy. I explained. The Carters would see through this flimsy kidnapping charade eventually. Retaliation was inevitable. Ryan zipped my suitcase shut. The diversion only bought time for clean extraction. He turned to me. Ready to disappear? Mrs. Foster? We boarded the rusty old train before Dad processed our escape. His furious voicemail barrage followed us into the countryside. I silenced my phone, leaning contentedly against Ryan's shoulder as the city skyline faded. Freedom never smelled sweeter. He intertwined his fingers with mine. Honey, you'll have to endure hardships with me again. I smiled. Will you make me suffer for long? Ryan replied. No. I promise. Through the train window, Ryan noticed Lucy sneaking over from the rear carriage. She's been following us the whole trip. I yawned sleepily. Let her tail us, Ryan nodded silently. I knew he wondered why I remained merciful toward Lucy despite her past cruelty. Squeezing Ryan's hand, I began recounting stories from our previous life, truths he'd never known. Ryan's entrepreneurial journey hadn't been smooth. Those early days demanded endless networking, securing investors, and recruiting partners. Business dinners filled his calendar. During his darkest period, he'd been pressured into excessive drinking at a negotiation, ultimately hospitalized with stomach damage. Furious, I'd confronted the businessmen who'd bullied him. Young and naive, I'd believed the predator's promise to sign contracts if I downed all the liquor. A lightweight who got tipsy on wine coolers. I forced myself to swallow entire shots of hard alcohol until consciousness slipped away. As the creep tried dragging me to a hotel room, Lucy descended the staircase with Ethan, freshly married and basking in her socialite glory. She'd intercepted, whether from pity or superiority. You can't take her, she'd declared, pushing the predator away. She's my sister. Those words stayed with me through lifetimes. I'd genuinely wanted reconciliation. But her growing bitterness twisted every olive branch into imagined sabotage. Ryan turned pale hearing this. You never told me. He choked out, grip tightening on my hand. Who was that bastard? Beneath his calm exterior burned ruthless protectiveness. I kissed his cheek to diffuse the tension. Ancient history. Love. Let's focus on our fresh start. Lucy followed us to Zhouchang. My father retaliated against our sudden departure by freezing our accounts. Yet Ryan remained unfazed. Decades of corporate maneuvering in our past life made securing new opportunities child's play. That evening, Lucy intercepted me outside our hotel. "We need to talk," she said with uncharacteristic vulnerability. Ryan immediately moved to shield me, paranoid since our rebirth about letting us interact. But something in Lucy's pleading eyes made me pause. "What about?" I asked. Ryan reluctantly waited under a street lamp, gaze never leaving us. Lucy withdrew a card from her pocket, avoiding his watchful stare. "It was from my mom before I left home." Lucy kept her head lowered. "For you too." I furrowed my brows. "What's this about?" "Lily, I can't compete with you." Lucy forced a smile that looked more painful than tears. "I'm done trying to outdo you this lifetime. You were right before. Winning against you doesn't require clinging to men." My eyes widened. "What happened to you? Since when did she undergo this personality shift?" Lucy rolled her eyes, ignoring my question. Across the room, Ryan stood frozen, clearly anticipating another outburst from her. The silence stretched until I nearly broke it. "Sorry." Her voice cracked. I blinked in surprise. Last time. My fault." Her knuckles whitened around her trembling hands, eyes glistening. "But why?" My throat tightened. "Keep the card. I won't bother you anymore." She swiped at her tears, squaring her shoulders. "I'm Lucy, top university graduate. Quick learner. I'll make it on my own merits." Her parting smile held bittersweet warmth. "Still envy you though. You always had better luck." "Lily." We watched her retreating figure, the heavy winter coat swaying with newfound lightness in her steps. Ryan's hand found mine. "Let's go home." Spring brought relentless hustle. Guided by past memories, Ryan relaunched his startup with surgical precision, avoiding every pitfall we'd previously suffered. His schedule became brutal. One midnight, he stumbled home reeking of alcohol, clinging to me with unusual desperation. After he passed out, I discovered raw knuckles bleeding through his shirt cuff. I bandaged the wounds without questions. Discreet inquiries with his business partner revealed, Ryan injured? The meeting went smoothly, though some exec named Wang Jin got jumped in the restroom. No witnesses. Ah. The same Wang Jin who'd assaulted me last lifetime. So that's where the scraped knuckles came from. My husband had developed a talent for covert payback. Ryan's venture soared with uncanny success. "It's insane." His partner marveled. "How'd you know Woman Tech wanted AI solutions?" Perfect match. After our first major payout, Ryan bought a 700-square-foot condo downtown. "Wanted our nest ready faster," he murmured. I poured my soul into designing the space. At our housewarming, friends gasped at the industrial chic interiors. "Mrs. Foster, you've got serious talent. Ever consider interior design?" The casual comment lingered. That night, after guests left, Ryan caught me staring at blank walls with restless energy. He tidied up the house and led me to the balcony. Fireworks bloomed across the night sky as someone celebrated in the distance. "Whatever you want to pursue, I'll always support you," he said, squeezing my hand. "I don't want you feeling trapped in this small apartment because of me." His voice softened. "Lily, you deserve an extraordinary life." The doorbell interrupted us. Ryan turned to answer, accepting a package from a delivery guy. Housewarming gift from an anonymous sender. The courier shrugged. Inside gleamed an ornate gold locket. "Any guesses?" Ryan asked. "Lucy," I replied without hesitation. Lucy walked into my design studio on opening day, becoming my first client. "I don't own property yet," she said, eyes sparkling with ambition. "But I want to reserve your talent for my future home." Over lattes at our neighborhood cafe, she revealed her cross-border e-commerce venture. "Platforms are establishing overseas warehouses and logistics now," she explained, tapping her smartphone. "This tidal wave won't wait." For the first time, I saw Lucy clearly, not as my stepsister, but as a shrewd businesswoman. She updated me about the Addams family's struggles since our departure. The Carters have been undermining our businesses through every possible channel. She confessed. Her voice hitched, mentioning their father's alcoholism. Last life, when he disowned you? She stared into her espresso. That was his own desperate bid for my approval. Not Mom's or my doing. Reborn in this era of opportunities. We all rode the economic surge. Ryan's startup flourished as he mentored hungry young talents. Their collective drive carving success in Harbor City's competitive landscape. Lucy built her e-commerce empire between midnight video conferences. My studio might never make millions, but each client's smile filled my soul. At charity galas, Ryan would proudly announce, "This is my wife," his arm anchoring me against seas of satin gowns. Ambitious women would nod respectfully, successful professionals who understood boundaries and abundance. Tonight's event bored me as usual. Slipping away from champagne flutes, I wandered to the floor, to ceiling windows. Laughter drifted from the penthouse ballroom below. My breath fogged the glass as I glimpsed a familiar figure stumbling through the lobby. Lucy. Clearly intoxicated. A young man in crisp Oxford shirt trailed her. Tousled bangs shadowing concerned eyes. When she faltered, his hands shot out to steady her. Worry lines etching his forehead as he murmured something inaudible. Interesting. I leaned against the window ledge with sudden curiosity. Lucy pushed the young man back a step. Her expression stormy as she snapped something inaudible. The persistent guy moved closer again, prompting me to consider intervening until Lucy abruptly grabbed his collar, yanking him down to meet her raised lips. My wineglass nearly slipped from my hand. Warm palms covered my eyes from behind. Some sights aren't meant for polite company. I pulled Ryan's hands away, thoroughly entertained. That boy looks. Looks what? His voice held a dangerous edge. Young. Ryan drew me from the window, breath grazing my ear. Are you implying I'm old, darling? The warning in his tone sailed right over my head. That night, no amount of pleading could save me. Lucy began dating the persistent admirer. Family money? I asked during our cafe meetup. Middle class. Brilliant career prospects? Averagely competent. Then why? This defied all her usual standards. Stirring her latte, she smiled. He's utterly devoted. We're giving each other a chance. As she rose to leave, Lucy invited. Come visit my new cocktail bar. I'll have our mixologist craft you something special. I'll visit. But no drinks. Her hand froze on the chair back, fingers brushing my abdomen. I explained. I'm expecting. Lucy's gaze dropped to my barely visible bump. Expression distant. After a long pause, she whispered. That's wonderful. When my pregnancy reached 5 months, Ryan reluctantly departed for a crucial 2-week business trip. The next day, Lucy arrived, suitcase in hand. What's this? I blinked. Leaving you alone in this condition? She pushed past me. Move. I'm taking the guest room. She installed herself as my live-in guardian, working from my home office after her corporate job. An army of hired helpers appeared, banned me from lifting a finger. Gradually, I noticed her particular fixation on my pregnancy. One wine-soaked evening after a professional setback, Lucy still remembered to nag about my prenatal vitamins. I intercepted her fussing. Is this guilt? Because of the car accident? Her knuckles whitened around the blanket. In the previous life, I pressed quietly. When you killed my child. The silence stretched, taut as piano wire. Lucy's hand fell limply as she slowly knelt by my bedside, pressing her forehead into my palm with her back hunched. Lily. I'm sorry. Her voice cracked with suppressed sobs. I truly didn't know you were pregnant back then. Had I known, I never would've. Her wine-loosened tongue finally released years of pent-up guilt. Every night I see nightmares, you drenched in blood, holding a baby who calls me aunt. This marked the first time I witnessed her cry in my presence. Wait. No, the second. Watching her trembling shoulders, childhood memories resurfaced. I was 10 when 8-year-old Lucy entered our home, pushed toward me by our father. Go play with your sister, my stepmother urged. The hostile glare I shot froze Lucy mid-step. Father enrolled her at my school, where whispers of illegitimate daughter followed her like shadows. Though I never orchestrated the bullying, neither did I intervene. Your stepsister's shameless, my friend once remarked. You ignore her, yet she keeps trailing you with those pathetic sis please. Like mother, like daughter, I'd sneered, only to turn and find Lucy clutching homemade cupcakes, her eyes brimming with hurt. That first tearful encounter sparked our rivalry, her competitive streak flourishing under my constant rejection. Sighing, I patted Lucy's shoulder. Enough tears. Your nephew's kicking to protest his aunt's crying. Her cheeks flushed as she rubbed her face, rising awkwardly. Get some rest, she mumbled, avoiding my gaze before fleeing the room. Epilogue, Lucy's perspective. The night following Lily and Ryan to Evercrest, I dreamed of past lives. There they were, packing for holiday homecoming. Could I borrow your legal team? Lily asked Ryan unexpectedly. He paused. What's wrong? After hesitation, she embraced him. I heard about Lucy's situation. I want to help. But you two never got along. Seeing her suffer brings no joy. Lily murmured. She's just overly competitive. Not evil-hearted. Invisible. I watched them drive home. Witnessed Lily inquiring about me through our stepmother. Saw Ryan's family lawyers deliver invitations to the Carters, compelling Ethan to release me for holidays. Then came the chilling vision, my past self standing behind them, eyes burning with malice, luring Lily to her doom. My entire body trembled as I tried to stop them. But they passed straight through my transparent form. I followed them out of the Adams estate where Lily waited by the roadside. Phone pressed to her ear while talking to Ryan about me. Ryan, when you introduce Attorney Chien to Lucy later, don't mention it was my idea. Lily lowered her head as she spoke, sunlight glinting off her engagement ring. She might still resent me and refuse the help. Attorney Chien specializes in high-stakes divorces. He'll secure the best possible settlement for her future. Though she spoke softly, every word pierced me like shrapnel. My spectral hands shook as I finally noticed the slight roundness beneath her cashmere sweater. She'd been pregnant that day. I'd never known. Tires screeched. Headlights blinded us both. Lily instinctively stepped back, one hand shielding her eyes, the other cradling her stomach. Through the windshield I saw my own twisted face behind the wheel, consumed by rage. No. I threw myself between the car and my sister. But the steel chassis tore through my ghostly arms. Metal met flesh with horrific crunching. Blood pooled around Lily's still form as I stood frozen. Phantom heart constricting. The world warped around me. Reality reshaping. Suddenly I stood in a darkened penthouse where Ryan cradled an urn, his hair shock white at 35. He hadn't turned on lights in weeks. 2 empty prescription bottles lay overturned nearby. I'm sorry. I sobbed into the void. I'm so sorry. But the nightmare continued, the Adams empire dismantled by rivals. Our mother thrown into the streets. The Carters spinning Ethan's infidelities into tales of tragic romance while their fortune grew. Ethan himself became Manhattan's most eligible widower, his new limp only adding to the playboy mystique as he hopped between supermodels on crutches. I woke screaming. The face in my bathroom mirror looked decades older than 28. My silk nightgown clung to sweat-drenched skin. That's when I knew this lifetime would be different. The maternity ward buzzed with nervous energy. Ryan caught my elbow as I paced. Lucy, you're making the nurses dizzy. His forced chuckle didn't hide the tension in his jaw. Shouldn't I be the anxious one here? I'm the aunt. I snapped, resuming my patrol past the vending machines. We both jumped when delivery room doors swung open. Before the nurse could speak, Ryan's phone buzzed with a Wall Street Journal alert: Carter Holdings stock plummeting after Ethan's latest scandal. Ethan's father-in-law pulled funding. Ryan murmured, showing me the headline. The real estate tycoon's daughter had finally left, taking 3 prime Manhattan developments in the divorce. Rumor said her family's construction crew from the old days had paid Ethan a visit first. I stared at the photo of Ethan's battered face. Tell them we'll settle for controlling shares in their Hamptons resort. My smile felt foreign yet right. And the penthouse on Fifth. Somewhere beyond the delivery room walls. A newborn's cry pierced the tension. Ryan's knees buckled as laughter and tears overtook us both. Through the observation window, I watched Lily nurse her son alive, radiant, and whole. The cardiac monitor beeped a steady rhythm where last lifetime there'd been silence. This time, we'd write different endings. A few days later, Ethan was exposed for alleged drug involvement and mental instability, getting hauled into police custody. Regardless of investigation outcomes, the Carter Group's business took massive hits. Multiple factions scrambled to capitalize on the chaos for their own gain. Ryan and I happened to be among those opportunists. The Carters' current peace offering proved how desperate they'd truly become. I smirked. Feeling charitable with your overflowing coffers, Ryan? Hardly. Ryan jerked his chin toward the delivery room. Got a wife and kids to feed now. A nurse emerged carrying paperwork. Family of Lily? Here. I shouldered past Ryan. How's my sister? The nurse beamed. Congratulations, healthy baby boy. Mom's doing great.